The Gods Below is the debut full-length album from Ossilegium. This is a Chicago, Illinois-based band with members who are from the kind of Wisconsin and Chicago area in general, and this comes after about 10 years spent under a different name with different members of the band. Imperius was that band, and they featured a lot of folks who played in Commandant around the Blood Eel era of that band. Egsol, the kind of main songwriter and guitarist here, is the leader of this project. In Imperius, the focus was very different. It was much more of a USBM, kind of a canonical feeling to it. There was death metal aggression to that group. There was your black metal intent there as well, and that was much more of a black metal band in general, I would say. This is more focused on the Swedish style of melodic black death metal, a circa 95 and beyond form of it, late 90s, early 2000s at least, and one that is not so squarely interested in cloying or sweet melody so much as the aggression that it can produce those melodies. So we'll cut right into a song here to give you a sense of what that sounds like in context of their own sound. So if I'm talking about melodic or Swedish melodic black death metal, and I'm mentioning bands like Soul Reaper, which was maybe like Dissection members that were leaning towards a little bit more Morbid Angel, and then Gates of Ishtar, The Chasm, you'll get a sense that this is a riff-driven endeavor. It is an aggressive one, and melody is not the only important part of what they're doing here in terms of this style. Although it is a very classic feeling, this is also an aggressive record that's focused on hitting riff after riff and sometimes producing a catchy song out of it. They never get so lost in a melody that it takes you somewhere else. So while I don't want to give the impression that this is an outwardly tuneful band that is rallying one idea after another and rapid firing the collision of melodic ideas that we find on earlier Icanerus Quintet or Gates of Ishtar, those are important tonal references for the way that this record communicates its aggression and its sound. And so there is a very highly detailed touch to this band, although their ideas are not as sophisticated in terms of their melodic development, especially in terms of writing for two guitars. But they do find a keen sense of interplay that still resembles the high standards of 90s melodic black death metal. They achieve that on such a level that I find this record is worth talking about. And I don't find that it is particularly original. I do find that there are parts of it that just don't stand out, a song or two, but the energy never drops, and this record is so well constructed that it doesn't need to be interrupted to be analyzed. It's an effective rush of riff and rhythm and melody it does its job. I think the only song that really didn't fit that intent perfectly was The Winds of Astaroth, but it still has the aggression inherent. It still has that classic heavy metal touch behind it that it made sense in the overall development of oeuvre for the band. And I feel like they conveyed their sense of self quite successfully without bringing in the romanticist dramatism that really took a lot of those early bands over the top. So in that sense, this does feel like it's a United States band. It does feel like a Midwest melodic black death metal band. But I think they put out a credible result here. They put out a strong statement that has some memorable songs in there. And for me, that's a moderately high recommendation. I'm a huge fan of this style, so maybe I'm more critical of some of the minutiae of it. But I think that if you're just looking for that exact feeling, given a little bit more of an aggressive register, balance of aggression and melodicism is prime here, and it should connect with a lot of people. So for me, that was the strongest point of enjoyment, was the connection that was easily made with the material. I think there is some refinement that will naturally happen over the course of, iteration upon this style. I didn't particularly like the album art as much as I think that is a fine photograph. It doesn't quite communicate as directly as I might have liked. So just a nitpick. Otherwise, a fine record, well worth checking out. It releases on Friday, May 3rd this week. Go ahead and check it out yourself when it does, and read my review for more of my own thoughts.